Welcome to Happy Cakes Bakes. Watch and learn how to make this adorable giant kawaii cupcake. This video is part of a fun Kawaii collaboration. I'll have links at the end of this video and posted down below. Make sure you catch all the videos to learn how to make your own kawaii sweets. I used the Wilton Giant Cupcake Pan to bake my cakes. I'm starting with my cakes already crumb coated, and each is attached to a cake cardboard that I've cut to slightly smaller than the diameter of the bottom of the cake. I also have pieces of cardstock, my small offset spatula, and of course buttercream. Start by icing the bottom layer with a generous coating of your buttercream. When you get to the sides, don't worry about the texture from the pan. Just go over and give it a nice smooth and even layer. Use the cardboards on the sides to smooth the cake into a nice cupcake shape. Now add a generous coating of buttercream to the top layer. And use the cardboard to smooth it into kind of a Hershey's Kiss shape. Use a small spatula to carve out a spiral, and this will help define the cupcake swirl. You can always go back and add more buttercream to spots that got a little bare. Use a curved piece of cardstock to smooth over the raised portions of the cupcake swirl. You can always go back and add more buttercream to any spots that you're not happy with the shape of. Now roll out skinny snakes of the same color fondant you're using for the cupcake wrapper. Use a skewer to mark the height of the bottom cake layer, and use that as a guide to cut lengths from the fondant rope. And place those lengths of fondant rope evenly around the bottom cake layer. Use a sharp knife to trim the bottom and tuck the bottom end underneath the cake. Now roll out your fondant and cover the tier. Make sure when you're smoothing and stretching your fondant that you go around each of the ridges so you don't end up with air bubbles. When your fondant is attached, trim the excess, leaving a little bit of overhang. Now carefully and confidently flip your cake over onto a clean cake board. And smooth the fondant up and over the bottom edge of the cake. Trim the excess fondant, being careful not to mark up the edge of the cake. Now just use another cake board to flip the cake back over. And smooth out any marks that were left behind. For the top cake, roll out a thick snake of modeling chocolate. And use your hand to smooth and flatten it a little. Lay the modeling chocolate over your buttercream to exaggerate the swirl design. Roll out additional modeling chocolate to cover the cake. Smooth the modeling chocolate into the ridge to define your swirl design. When the cake is completely covered, place it on a smaller pan or can and smooth the modeling chocolate underneath the edge. To make eyes, roll out a piece of black fondant to about 1/4 inch thick. Place plastic wrap over the top and use a small round cutter to cut out 2 circles. Place plastic wrap over white fondant rolled to the same thickness and use a smaller round cutter or pastry tip to cut out small white circles. Use the same round cutter to make offset cutouts from the black circles. And drop the small white circles in. Roll a skinny snake of black fondant for a mouth, trim to size and neaten up the ends. Keep the pieces under plastic while you're working so they won't dry out. For the little cheeks, cut a ball of dark pink fondant in half and flatten each half into a small oval. For the cherry on top, start with a ball of red fondant and lightly pinch the sides together. Use a pencil-shaped modeling tool to help form a divot on top of the cherry. And poke a hole at the top to make a spot for the stem. To form the stem, feed a small snake of fondant onto a length of wire. Now assemble your cake layers, attaching with a little bit of icing. use a little bit of water to attach the eyes, mouth, and cheeks. Use a toothpick to secure the cherry on top of the swirl. I made little heart-shaped sprinkles by pinching a ball of white fondant into a little teardrop. Use a knife tool to cut about halfway down and then shape the top into the curves of a heart. Add the sprinkles and you're done! Don't forget to catch the rest of these videos from this fun Kawaii collaboration.